Thank you for joining us. This is True Print for Life. We're super excited for this next episode. I am your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois. So we're really excited to have with us a special guest, someone that we love dearly, that's doing super brave things in the world. And she is an author. She's an entrepreneur. She is a mom, an amazing friend. And today with us, we have Christa Caliver. And we're going to have Christa share a little bit with us about who she is, where she's from. Welcome, Christa.
Thank you so much both for having me today. So my name's Christa Caliver. I am a Columbus native, born and raised here, went to school in Gahanna. Early college, I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, at Tennessee State University. Was not the best experience, so I came back and finished at OSU. But I think that kind of really sparked my desire even more to live somewhere besides Columbus.
Okay.
So that was early on, huh?
Yeah, like when I first thought about college, I wanted to go to like UNLV or UCLA, but my parents were like, "Yeah, that's too far. We're not doing that." So I settled for Tennessee State in Nashville.
Wow.
And then you ended up back here in Columbus.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Finishing at OSU, and then I got married,
Life.
Yep, all that good stuff.
What did you major in at Ohio State?
History.
Wow. Well, okay, so tell me why history. Like, what sparked you about history?
I have always loved history. I love reading. I love writing. I like looking at chronologically how things happen and kind of how, society changes around the way things are happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would have never, I never knew that. I think that is so cool.
I know you're a great storyteller, but now I'm like, oh.
The historian.
There's some trick.
Yes.
That makes total sense now.
I love it. I thought I wanted to teach.
Okay.
But that just was not in the cards for me, just in the way that Ohio State was certifying teachers to people to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. You had to go to grad school, and that just was what I wanted to do. I was ready to just be done with school. So I just stopped with my bachelor's in history, joined the workforce, which I've done mostly in healthcare and banking.
Okay.
And then you still do other things, right? So you've been in those areas, but you do a lot of other things.
So that's how I make my money.
Right.
That's your main hustle, right?
Right. But like you said, I'm an author. I wrote a novel. It's going to be delivered to the editor tomorrow morning.
Oh my goodness!
So excited!
Yes.
Can you give us some insight? What's the novel about?
So it's we'll call it a coming of age story.
Okay.
But more for an adult woman, not like a coming of age for kids, because we change as we get older. I feel like every 10 years is a different part of your life. Mm-hmm. So this is a woman or a group of women who are coming into who they are into their 40s.
Perfect timing.
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of stress or even pressure that as women, that we have to know every single thing about who we are and where we're going and how, and you get into this funnel of well, what do people think about me? If I'm not at this certain stage in life by this certain age, then something's wrong with me, or society has said that, you're supposed to have this and you're supposed to look this way. So I love that you said the kind of coming of age from a woman's perspective, because I think that is a reminder that our journeys really are all individual, and that coming of age could look very different for me than it could be for you. And so in the book, do you give more, is it more of a memoir, or is it more of just kind of this character's coming of age?
So there are several characters. It's 4 women. There's probably a little bit of me in every character in the book.
Okay.
Male and female.
Okay.
And everybody is changing throughout the story. And it's, like I said, some of it's me, some of it's just straight imagination. When I first started writing it, it was with one character in mind. Mm-hmm. But as I was writing, these other 2 characters kind of just kept presenting themselves to me, so I had to continue theirs more on, which means I'm going to have to write probably at least 2 more books to finish out all of their stories.
That's
So
exciting.
we have 3 books, guys. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
What inspired you to want to write this, though? Like, I'm really intrigued by all of it so far.
You know, I've always been a writer, like from the time I was like in the 2nd grade. My mom tells the story about me like winning awards. Like, I don't remember that, but you know, she would.
Right.
For writing.
Yeah.
And I've always been good at it. Something that's always just come natural. And I had always felt like I had at least 1 book in me. But for the longest, I always thought it was going to be like a self-help.
Okay.
But then just novel, like ideas for novels just kept coming to me more. So I had done get your book done like in 100 days, like a challenge like that. And so I was getting up at 4:30 every morning for 100 days so that I could get my book done. Because what I was finding was that, you know, after work, I didn't have what I needed to give myself the best for that book. So I was like, I'm going to get up early and give my book my best self every day for those 100 days.
All right, so I got to get up at 4:30 to write this book, is what you're telling
Pretty
me.
much.
Let me write this down.
Yes,
4:30. That's the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not getting up at 4:30, this book is going to be lingering.
Well, just, you know, it's a small time frame. You know, it's not forever. Because right now, no, ma'am, I'm not
There's
getting up
no
at
way,
4:30.
right? We have tried it.
We have.
It was good for those 100 days. Thank God, right?
But now,
And I was
Right.
there's no way. Well, if I'm going somewhere, then
Yes. Yeah, if you're traveling, you're taking a plane at 5. Yeah, definitely, right?
there.
Absolutely. Because we used to text each other like, you up? I'm like, okay, I got to get up just because I know she's writing a book and I just need to get up and pray or something. But that was it. Once she finished the book, I'm like, I think we're done. I feel like
And
we
then
did
you
a
went
good
back to
job.
bed, and then you were like, let me
I feel like we
sleep.
did a good job for that. She got the book. That was like,
That's right.
I worked out a little.
I love it.
I talked to God. But I think it was inspiring, though, to watch you go through that, right? And to put yourself first, because there was no time in the day to do it. And I think for everybody, you really have to find your time, because maybe the morning is what worked for you. But for some people, they have it, you know, extra few 5 hours or 2 hours at night that they can think, that they can settle down. So that was what worked for Christa. You have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
Because you're not a morning person, ma'am, over there. So you may have to find...
I'm not an evening person either, so I just don't know what's
You need like
gonna
a weekend.
happen.
Like maybe for you, it's like I need to dedicate 5 hours on a weekend where I say
know.
no to everything else
Yeah.
and say yes to this. And that goes for both of us. It's not just for Christina, guys. This is for Maylin as well.
But you get up in the morning with no problem. Like, Maylin is that person, if you're like, okay, we're going to do this 5 a.m., she's up and she's really like consistent. And we talked about this with another guest. She said to us, she said, you know, because I think I asked her something like, what motivates you? And she said, motivation is like seasonal. It's more about discipline. So you had to tap into a discipline habit or create that if you didn't already have it, to say like, I have to get up at 4:30 every single day for the next 100 days if I'm going to be serious about this goal.
That's right.
Even if I don't want to. Because many times you didn't want to.
No, because I'm a night owl by nature. So like, you know, it's like, okay, 12 o'clock, Christa, go to bed.
Yeah.
Because you have to get up at 4:30.
Right.
But
So,
you did it.
I did.
Yes, you did.
And the book is going to the editor tomorrow, you said? Oh my gosh.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
I'm so I was reading it over just, you know, just because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, am I being biased or is this really a good book?
Yeah.
No, you're really good. I feel like you have been like, no, what was I thinking? So if you said that, it's gonna be a great
gonna
book. And
be
you already had
great.
somebody read it. Your mom read it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But again, it's my mom. So I'm thinking, she said it's good, but she's
I
my
also
mom.
know your mom. I just don't see her lying.
Yes.
Miss Gabby don't lie. She'll be like, yeah, this is great job. How can we also do this?
Very, very
Right?
true. Very true.
So no, you're like us. I'm like, we're nice, but we're very honest.
Very
and
true.
I that's why I'm so excited to read it. So now you have worked in the workforce for a long time. That's like your main bread and butter. And then you have done the book and you have done other things. You volunteer a lot in the community as
Yeah, I
well.
I
You
do.
have volunteered for us at Femergy. You have
Yeah.
volunteered for like the
I
Dance
see her.
Elite.
I read it to Christa all the time, volunteering. I'm like, you here too? She's like, yeah, my friend needed help. I'm like, what a great
yes.
person you are.
Very
God.
intentional events, but yes.
Yes.
And thank you for that, because we do need amazing
You're so
volunteers like you.
welcome. I love it.
Yes.
That is like truly part of who I am. I am by nature a helper. So that just it fills my cup.
But you had to set boundaries, though, because you are a helper.
Absolutely. Help with the things that I want to help with.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
just any and everybody, no.
Yes, thank you for that. And in the last few months or year, I don't know how long you've been planning this, so you can tell us better. You started to plan a change, a big change. So can you walk us through how you came to that and where we are in that plan?
Okay, so I'm moving to Arizona.
Yay.
And
no.
I'm so excited.
I have mixed feelings.
And again, I always wanted to live somewhere else, right? I visited there in 1 year for my birthday. And I just remember not having to wear a coat. My birthday's in February. So here,
cold.
You're wearing a coat
on
your birthday. Well, I would always be. I'm like, I think I need to be here. And that was at least 13 years ago.
Wow.
Then I had a cousin who moved there, and another cousin who moved there. And I was like, I'm really going to Arizona.
Yeah.
Then my daughter, she's been taking classes at ASU online, Arizona State online. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to go. And she finishes school, and now we're here. Wow. So August, we are out of here. So we've been, I had like in my mind a plan, then I wrote out a plan, all the things you have to do. I've been in my house for 14 years.
Wow.
So I have 14 years of stuff to get rid of, like I was talking to Maylin about, thinking about packing up the cars, putting those on like a trailer to drive them out because I'm not driving to Arizona. Yeah. Making sure the dog also can get to Arizona because I have a dog.
For a long time.
Yeah.
She's still there.
So what got you to this point where you're like, I'm going to Arizona? Like, I'm done thinking about that birthday weekend that I was out there. Like, at what point did you say, like, I'm going to Arizona?
Like, truly, it's always been in me. And when I said 13 years ago, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to be. I wanted no more cold. I love the heat. And also, like, back then, it was a little newer. It was a little along the same lines as Columbus as far as growth was.
Okay.
More recently, it's taken off a little more because a lot of people are moving from California to Arizona. So it's blown up even more. So there's still lots and lots of growth going on there.
I want to go to Arizona. I was supposed to go to Arizona when the pandemic happened, like when it kicked. I want to say kicked off because it's not an exciting event. But I had a trip planned to Sedona for my birthday in February. And because I've been like, I want to go to Arizona. I want to go to Sedona specifically. And then it was like the pandemic and everything got shut down that week because I've always looked at pictures of Arizona and I'm like, I want to see the mountains, like just the desert and the way the houses, the architecture. It's just like a whole different vibe. And I've never even been there. I've only just seen it in pictures. So I'm like super excited that you get to experience that.
You have to come visit.
Oh, I'm absolutely coming. I'm like, oh, you're moving to Arizona.
I feel like Kelly's already planning a trip.
Yeah.
And you're not even there, right? Yes.
Wow.
But there was so you've been working, and I think as a single mom and as the person that works really hard to provide for your daughter and yourself, making a decision to leave corporate to figure out, right, or to finish planning this is not an easy decision.
No.
So when did you make the decision that, when did you create the exit date? Like, walk us through, like, what was like, this is it. I'm going to leave this day.
I had a good friend who was coaching me.
Was she?
Yeah.
And I think I know who it is.
It was the exit strategist.
Okay, all right. I was wondering. I was like, was it the same person I'm thinking of?
Probably. Yeah, she was coaching me, and she's like, you know what? You have to just set a date. And I was like, all right. And so I thought, like, okay, it's probably going to take me a few months to get all my house cleaned out. But then I also wanted a few months for me to kind of just decompress from all the years because my last job was stressful. I needed time to completely, decompress from all of that, plus have time to get everything ready. And I, just wanted to go out there with freshness, with a complete fresh start. So I picked a date and I stuck to it. So proud of myself.
Yay!
Because it is scary. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what am I going to do? You know, because yes, I'm excited about moving, but you still need money.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of part-time jobs that are, but they're fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting to help, which is, you know, like I like to do. So.
And we talk about but we just had a conversation about budgets, and we talk about budgets all the time. So to do that decision, to have that exit date, there had to be some planning, financial planning ahead of time to get there. So what was that like?
So, and here's just my take, my perspective. You know, for years, you know, you put into your 401k. I chose to take that. I'm still going to work. I'm not 65. I'm going to be working for at least another 30 years. So why not use the money that I've been saving and invest it in myself and this next part of my journey? So that was very, very purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then using that to prepare you to get you to your move.
Yes.
And you have an apartment already, I heard.
Yes.
Wow.
So everything is planned out.
Yes.
And how does your daughter feel about the move?
She's been ready to go.
Has she?
Yeah. So initially we were going to try to go when she turned, in the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. But then she found this dance studio that she loves. So we decided to stay until she finished high school.
Yeah.
You're such a great mom, because my mom would be like, "We moving. You better get your stuff." I remember every few years we was moving somewhere. I'm like, can I just graduate with my friends? No, it's not an option.
No,
So I love that you even were like, okay, we'll stay here and because I think that you also want to think about like just all of the parts of that decision,
Right?
You know, and obviously your daughter is a huge part of that,
Right?
So I love that you even initially kind of thought maybe this time frame, but realized you might have to wait into this period. Wow.
And even leading to that, before the pandemic, I think parents didn't know what it was like to be teachers at home, right? Because they were like, kids go to school for 8 hours or whatever hours, great. But you chose, in combination with your daughter, to have her go homeschooling before the pandemic started. Is that correct?
Correct.
So why was that decision made, and was it helpful for her education?
Okay. So, she had been asking to be homeschooled since probably 4th grade. But as a single parent, I could not really make logistically that happen. Then, 8th grade, 7th grade, she liked, middle school was okay for her, She's like, let me go to high school. We got about midway through that first year, and she's like, yeah, I'm done. And I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, we don't have a plan yet.
Yeah.
So this next year, starting with 10th grade, homeschool. And it just made all the world of difference for her from a probably mental and emotional perspective, because there were probably at least once a week she was, vomiting from stress, just very unhappy with her school setting. And even in looking at, I'm like, do you want to try another school? And she's like, no, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
So.
And I think a lot of families are evaluating that right now. There's so many more, I don't know, even online, I'm always seeing these families in these campers, and they're just traveling the world, and they're teaching their kids. And it's such a creative time to, because back in the day, there was no other options. If you didn't go into that building, the court, you was getting papers, because there was no alternatives to education.
Or, it was only thought of that you were super religious if you got homeschooled.
Right.
Whereas it's always been available to everybody. There was just a stigma that was placed around it.
Yeah.
You weren't considered normal if you didn't go to school.
Oh, wow.
And that's not the case.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, every kid is different, and I really, really applaud you and taking the time to really think about what your kid is saying, and kind of how does that, reflect in what you want to happen in your household. So I'm excited to see it. And she's already taking college courses in Arizona. So that would be even more cool when that transition happens.
Yes.
And she was successful. I think some kids, we have seen some in our other girls in our program, because Sienna came to our program. So we've seen other girls in our program that have done homeschooling and they have finished school earlier. Like they're truly succeeding. And it's not for everybody, because you need discipline.
So, yeah.
Just, right? That is.
do.
So did you coach her into the discipline piece, or did you help her with that?
Yeah, and I also wanted to have her have the accountability, because that's what college is. You really have to be focused, and even if you're not focused, you have to learn how to get yourself back on track. You have to learn how to manage your time. You have to learn how to communicate with professors. And I left all that up to her, really, because that's mostly what she has done. I would, look over her work if she asked me to. But there was a point where I'm like, yeah, that math is beyond me. I don't know what to tell you.
Beyond me now.
That math is beyond me, too. I'm like,
fifth grade's beyond me. I'm like, ooh, is that a new thing?
I'm like, you've been in class all day. You didn't ask the teacher how to do this. You will wait till you get home to ask me how to do this.
Get you a tutor. You need a tutor. Let me go up with Shonda real quick.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow, how exciting. I mean, that's really cool. Really, really cool. So what do you feel like now? Like you're just knocking out so many things that have just been on your, I hate the word. I mean, I'm not really a bucket list kind of person. I think it's more of just this life plan, this mapping. And so what do you feel like is next for you? The book is coming out. Do you think you're going to do more stuff related to the book, or is it more about, at this point, just kind of the transition, getting into Arizona and getting settled? Like, what are you excited about? Like, what do you foresee as what's next for you?
Everything. I want it all. But so yeah, obviously getting settled. I also have been taking doing some studying around life coaching.
Okay.
Just because I feel like I could be very helpful in helping women in particular living their best life, and whatever that looks like for them. Yeah. Like you were saying earlier, all of our journeys are different, and they should be. Mm-hmm. Because, how boring would the world be if everybody followed the exact same life? We have to know what our definition of success and happiness look like. Mm-hmm. So just coaching, helping women in particular, figure out what that looks like, and then helping them get a plan to make that happen.
I love that. What would you say, in your life coaching? I think life coaching is extremely important. Any kind of coaching or personal development, mentoring. Growing up, or even throughout your professional career, how did mentorship or coaching play a part? I know you mentioned some of the coaching you had to get you to the point of saying, I'm ready to go to Arizona. But as far as your development over the years, how did mentoring or coaching play a part in that?
So I have a phenomenal mother. Mm-hmm. She is the ultimate life coach.
Okay.
Because I feel like, so she lost her mother at a very young age. She was 17, and she was pregnant with me when she lost her mother. So she had to learn how to do it kind of by herself, back before there really was a lot of mentors, especially for, Black and African American women. That just, it wasn't a lot of that going on, back in the 70s and 80s. So she did a phenomenal job of, building herself up, and then did her best to always pass those things on to me. So I always felt comfortable. She was who I would run everything by, or is who I run everything by. So I never hired a coach or had a mentor, but I always had somebody who was very, very smart, intelligent, also very open-minded in ways that a lot of parents, I think, aren't. So yeah, my mom is the ultimate mentor and life coach.
Which is why she's so open with Sienna, guys. Because
Correct.
she got a great coach.
Yes.
Because I'm like, what are you doing? You're letting her do what?
That's great.
Yeah, I think so. Now that you have your plan to go, and that kind of helps you through, and I know through life, because we talk about some of our life stuff, we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So were there some limiting beliefs that you had to squash, right, or release in order to get you to this point where you are now, and kind of like how you started that process of letting those limiting beliefs go?
Absolutely. So, and it wasn't until probably about a year ago that I realized that when I got divorced, that played so much more on my mind and on what I believed about myself than I ever even thought about or even imagined. I think about, conversations that we had prior to getting divorced, and I really let some of those conversations affect how I looked at myself. But once I realized that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, just change the way you're thinking about it. And a lot of, affirmation, like literally writing this out and telling myself every day, that is not your story, that is not your story, that is not your story. Whatever the piece of that story was, telling myself every day that that's not true about yourself. That's not who you are. That's not what you do.
Mm-hmm. And that's hard because I think people sometimes think that affirmations are like, I don't know, fairy dust. But it does work, right? Because your mind is always it's almost like you're having a battle with your mind and you have to use it, right?
Yeah, it's your subconscious because you're conditioned to think a certain way. So just like, if I want to go run a marathon, I have to train and condition. It's the same thing with your mind. You have to train and condition it to think, another way.
Mm-hmm. And we're very big about manifestation, guys. Like, I feel like I learned about manifestation a lot. I've been talking a lot about, but then Chris and I had some conversations, and I think I'll back to Christina about manifestation. So you brought me to a book that I thought was really great. It was a 21-day challenge that we did, right?
Yes.
So how did you find that book? And can you tell us, like, what was the result of doing that manifestation?
Okay, so I follow this lady on
Instagram?
I first found her on Facebook.
Okay.
And then followed her also on Instagram. Catherine Zenkina, I think is her name.
Yes, you say it really good. I will have messed that up,
Right. So her book, it's like a 21-day, Get Your Money Back.
Manifestation Babe.
Yeah, Manifestation Babe 21-day challenge where you manifest $1,000 in 21 days. I went well beyond that in probably a week. And not necessarily just like money in my hands, but, like I needed money for, dance fees. And so I approached somebody with, hey, here's my proposition, can you pay it up front? I'll pay half, and then I'll pay you back the half. And they're like, well, no, you can just have it all. Like, what?
Manifestation.
Okay. Wow. And it was well beyond the $1,000 that we were trying to manifest.
Right.
And just little things throughout that whole 3 weeks? Mm-hmm. Little things here and there that just kept adding and adding and adding. And it was just at the end of the 21 days, I was like, that was kind of awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm almost scared to do it again.
I'm really excited to do it again. Right? I think the second time we tried to do it, I was like, okay, I'm not being consistent. There's a lot of things happening. But I think even if you don't do all of it, just getting started and doing some of the exercises, which is to clean your purse, to, write affirmations on your wallet, like those little things will really help. Because that also helped me. Like, I was like, for real? That's why I'm such a big passion about manifestation, because it's really thinking positive and bringing the right energy.
Right.
When people are confused by the word manifestation, is really having the intention to create something, right? And then calling that energy into it. Right, so call it prayer, whatever you want to do. Because I add a lot of prayer to this too.
Yeah.
And then just being intentional about writing some of these goals, right? Because you're about to have your life, the life that you have been manifesting for 13
Absolutely.
years, come into fruition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's part of it is like, I think the manifestation processes, or like even the 21-day challenges or whatever they may be, I think it's just really activating what you already have inside of you.
Yes.
A lot of times people think that they have to go find certain challenges or people or products to acquire, but it's really like you already had that in you. Yeah. It was more of just the reminder of like, okay, because you went to that person and you said, hey, I need your help with this, this, and this. I'm willing to do that. Like you had that in you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was more of just the activation of going to do it. And then, boom, you got the result that you deserve to get. And so I think it's sometimes people, I think we often don't give ourselves enough credit in saying that, like, no, like I did this, but in a very like, it's almost a holistic. Like when we talk about a lot of the holistic processes of really being in tune with who you are and what you want, or how you want to show up to the world every single day. I think, as you both mentioned, it's the mindset of just reminding yourself, no, I deserve this. No, this is where I need to be. No, these are the types of people I need to be around. I think getting in the routine of having that environment and creating that environment, then I think ultimately you can't see anything but success from that. But it takes that intentional effort of putting yourself in that headspace, as you mentioned earlier, like having to like have those conversations with yourself to get you back on the track that you want to be on.
Mm-hmm. And you got to take in, I said actions. There's actions, right? So I think there's a confusion with manifestation. We were like, I'm just going to do affirmations. And that's it, guys. I'm going to be happy and rich for life. I'm a millionaire. Every morning.
It's action.
Right.
There's actions that you got to take to become a billionaire. Like you can just not sit at your house waiting for that billion to come. Like you got to create a product, right? Go ask people for opportunities. So that, and I believe that's what you did.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you were so successful. And that's what we continue to do, I think, every day, even having the podcast. For the longest, that was a great intention, a great idea. And then it's like, okay, well, great. Now let's make it happen.
Yeah. And we run into people all the time who are like, I heard your episode and like this stuck with me. And I'm just like, which episode? And I'm trying to think through like the episodes. I'm like, which episode was that? But like, it doesn't matter. Like whatever they needed to hear in that moment, you know, that was for them.
Right.
And even if it's one person or if it's thousands of people, I think is like what you mentioned earlier. You just want to serve and you just want to, you know, give back in any capacity that you can.
Absolutely. And what motivates you, Christa? Because you're very disciplined. You do a lot. What motivates you?
I honestly feel like it is my desire to be a servant, to be a helper. I mean, I feel like if I'm not in that space, if I'm not somewhere helping, my quality of life goes down. So it's really just something that's just been instilled in me. I don't know if it's like my mom is a volunteer, my dad is a volunteer. It's just something that our family, I think, does. Mm-hmm. So
for you to feel fulfilled,
yes.
That's part of what you need, is to serve others.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Well, I know I feel like we could talk to you all day because I can't wait to hear about the book. So when the book is released, I would love to do a book convo or booked.
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to do a book tour, a virtual book club. Something needs to happen with the book. So, we can definitely have you back. We can talk about it because I would love to. I can't wait for the book. So we'll have to stay tuned, and then we can do a virtual interview with you once you get to Arizona and get settled.
I could go there, and then
I was gonna say, are you both?
Or we could come. Well, Dalton has to come too, right? Dalton, okay, Dalton's coming. I mean, somebody's got to do all this, but I would love to see how that's going. But I think as we're closing and thinking about like just everything you've learned over the years of your journey, and it sounds like it's been one roller coaster, but an exciting journey. What would you say, like, what would you either tell your younger self or somebody who might be at the very beginning of this journey of whether it's corporate America, parenting, maybe they're just starting the process of a divorce, like what bit of advice would you give to that person, or even, your younger self now knowing what you know?
One of the first things that I would say is, don't be okay with just settling. Excuse me. Strive to thrive. Because I feel like so many times throughout my life, I would just settle for, the job, settle for the relationship, as opposed to really striving very hard for what I really wanted. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, it kind of piggybacks with that. Know what you want, but everybody doesn't have to know everything about what you want. Mm. Because sometimes you can tell the wrong people too much.
Like move in silence.
Yes.
I like that. I believe in that too.
Yes.
Yes, she's just a mover.
Because now your point, like you tell the wrong people sometimes, and like that energy, not everybody's happy for you. Correct. Not everybody wants to see you win. Or some people have never seen what you're describing, so to them it's like not obtainable.
Right. And when you're in the right mind frame, you don't need the negativity. Even if it's not even meant to be negative, it can still come across that way.
Right.
If it's in opposition to what it is that you're trying to do.
Right. Which is why sacredness, not secret, but sacredness is important, guys. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm so excited for you. I'm sad because you're going to be moving to a place that's super warm away from us. But I'm so excited for you because I love that you're following your heart and making your dreams come true. And you deserve it. You work really hard for that. And we love to come and visit. I think Arizona is great. I've been to Arizona. I think it's great. And I would love to come and visit and do some episodes over there.
Yeah.
And make it happen.
That's right.
Yes.
I love it.
And whatever your next step is.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I hate to say goodbye, but we're going to see you soon.
Yes.
And as soon as that book is ready, we're going to be right here waiting. And we have a mantra. I'm sure you have heard it in the podcast because she's one of our great listeners.
Yes, I am.
You always give me a text like, all right, I heard this and I love this part. I was like, thank you so much.
I love that.
So we have the mantra, it's bigger than you. And I'm going to count us off and then we're going to say it together.
It's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.